Count backwards. Your mother, her mother, the woman before her. Keep going. 100 steps back. 1,000. 10,000. Every single link in that line is a woman who survived long enough to have a daughter, who survived long enough to do the same. Now follow that line far enough back, and something strange happens. It doesn't fade out into a crowd. It narrows. It narrows to one woman. Not a metaphor, not a religious story. A measurable, testable fact sitting inside every cell in your body right now. Every human alive today, all 8 billion of us, shares one single mother, somewhere around 150,000 years ago. She had no name. She has no grave. She died with no idea that she mattered. And the strangest part of her story isn't who she was. It's that she keeps changing. Start with the obvious problem. How could anyone possibly know this? There were no witnesses, no writing, no burial site with her name carved into it. The evidence isn't in the ground at all. It's in you. Most of your DNA is a blend. Half from your mother, half from your father, cut apart and reshuffled every generation. Trace that backwards and it doesn't narrow, it explodes. 2 parents, for grandparents, 8, 16, thousands of ancestors within a few centuries. But there is one piece of you that refuses to mix. Inside almost every cell in your body sit tiny structures called mitochondria. They're the parts that turn food into usable energy. And mitochondria carry their own separate DNA, a small closed loop, about 16,500 letters long, 37 genes. Here's the part that matters. You inherit that loop only from your mother. Your father's mitochondria are in his sperm, and they simply don't make it into the developing embryo. Whatever his mother gave him stops with him. So your mitochondrial DNA is a near-perfect copy of your mother's, and hers is a near-perfect copy of her mother's. Unmixed, unshuffled, unbroken. That turns a tangled web into a single chain. And a chain is something you can follow. In 1987, 3 researchers at Berkeley, Rebecca Cann, Mark Stoneking, and Alan Wilson, published a paper in the journal Nature that did exactly that. They compared mitochondrial DNA from 147 people drawn from populations across the world. Copying is never quite perfect. Every so often a single letter changes, and that change gets passed down forever after. Those mutations pile up at a roughly predictable rate, a molecular clock. So count the differences between 2 people's mitochondrial DNA, and you can estimate how long ago their maternal lines split apart. Do that for enough people, and the branches don't stay separate. They fold together. 2 lines meet, then 4, then all of them, converging on one single root. One woman. The press called her Eve. The name stuck, and it has been causing confusion ever since. Because when people hear the mother of every human alive, they picture the last woman standing. A lone survivor. A garden. A single couple starting the world. That is not what she was. And the truth is far more interesting than the myth. When she was alive, there were thousands of other humans walking around. Other mothers. Other daughters. Other families with their own long histories behind them. And here's the part that trips almost everyone up. Many of those other women are also your ancestors. You genuinely descend from plenty of them. She isn't the only woman you came from. She's the only one you came from through an unbroken chain of women. Mother to daughter, with no men in the chain at all. She isn't the first woman. She isn't the only woman. She's simply the most recent woman that every living person on Earth can trace a pure mother line back to. Now think about what that chain actually demands. Every woman in it had to survive to adulthood and have at least one daughter, and that daughter had to do the same, roughly 6,000 times in a row. One woman anywhere in that line who has only sons, and it's over, permanently. She can have 12 children and 40 grandchildren, and her mitochondrial line still ends with her. And that isn't a rare tragedy. That's the normal outcome. In any population, maternal lines quietly vanish all the time. Run the clock long enough, and almost all of them will. Which means this isn't a miracle, it's arithmetic. Take any group of women, let it run for long enough, and the survivors will always converge on one single mother line. It has to happen. The only question is whose. So her line surviving isn't a sign that she was stronger, or smarter, or chosen. Somebody's line was always going to win. Hers did. So who was she? She lived in Africa, and most likely East Africa, the region that's now Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania, because that's where mitochondrial diversity runs deepest today. Genetic variety piles up where a population has lived longest. Sub-Saharan Africa holds more mitochondrial diversity than the entire rest of the planet combined. That isn't a coincidence. That's a fingerprint pointing at where we started. The best current estimates put her somewhere between 150 and 200,000 years ago, though the exact figure shifts as methods improve. She was anatomically modern. Same skull, same brain, same body you have. Put her in a classroom today, and she would learn to read. She was almost certainly a hunter-gatherer, living in a band of maybe 20 to 50 people, moving with the seasons and the water. She probably buried children. Most mothers then did. She had no writing, no city, no monument, and no idea that the thing quietly copying itself inside her cells would outlast every empire that had not been invented yet. She wasn't the hero of her own story. She was somebody's daughter, having an ordinary and difficult day, about 6,000 generations upstream from you. And that's the story. One anonymous woman in East Africa. A lucky line. 8 billion descendants. Neat ending. Except it's wrong in one very specific way, and this is the part almost nobody mentions. Mitochondrial Eve is not a fixed person. She's a moving target. Because Eve was never a name. It's a job title. It means one thing only. The most recent woman that all living humans share a pure maternal line with. And that depends entirely on who happens to be alive right now. Somewhere in the world today, there is a family whose maternal line is about to end. A last daughter with no daughters of her own. When that line goes quiet, an entire branch is pruned off the tree, and the point where the remaining branches meet slides forward in time. Eve becomes a different woman, a more recent one, and nothing in the past changed at all, only the present did. She has already shifted many times. She may have shifted while you were watching this video, and she will keep shifting long after you're gone. The mother of humanity isn't really a person sitting in the past. She's a shadow cast backwards by whoever is alive today. And yes, there's a male version of this. The Y chromosome passes from father to son the same way, and it points back to one man. But be careful with that one. Estimates for when he lived swing enormously, from roughly 120,000 years ago to well over 300,000, depending on the study and which rare lineages got sampled. You'll often hear that he and Eve were separated by tens of thousands of years and could never have met. Some studies say exactly that. Others put their ranges close enough to overlap. Honestly, we don't know yet. And the fact that we don't know is more interesting than pretending we do. Here's what stays with me. History hands its monuments to kings and generals and conquerors. The most consequential woman who ever lived got nothing. No name, no tomb, no date, not even a face. She left exactly one thing behind. An unbroken line of daughters. And every single one of them held on to it. There's one more fact worth sitting with. Work published in Nature in 2004 by Douglas Rohde, Steve Olson, and Joseph Chong suggested that if you count every ancestral line, mothers and fathers, not just mother lines, the most recent common ancestor of everyone alive may have lived only a few thousand years ago. Not 100,000, a few thousand, recent enough to sit inside written history. Which means everyone you will ever meet, argue with, or scroll past is a cousin, and not a distant one. Nobody ever built her a monument. So build her one in your head for a second, and then go on with your day. If this one landed, subscribe. There's a new one every week. And tell me in the comments, how far back can you actually name your own mother's line? Most people stop at 3. See if you can beat it.